Welcome back. This is lesson 5, and we're going to begin with our note input. So the first way we're going to input our notes is with our mouse using just our laptop without any external keyboard or mini keyboard. So this is the most simple way. If you take a look at your score, you're gonna see that for this we're gonna use our simple entry palette. Again, you can find it clicking on Window and selecting Simple Entry Palette. Now I deselected so it's not there. Make sure to have available both your Simple Entry Palette and your Rests palette. So this first step is very intuitive. Basically, you're going to select the note you want to add and you're going to insert it in your instrument. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to first choose a quarter note. I'd probably like to zoom in a lot for this. Once you start getting more used to how to input your notes, you won't need to be so close and so zoomed in. But at first, I really suggest you zooming in there and taking time to find the note. So you'll see that as you hover, you're gonna see the options for different notes. So let's say we're gonna start with an E. And I'm gonna add an F. And then I can also change to 8 note, for example, and add each note individually. Back to quarter note. Then if I wanna add a dot to one of my notes, I can select it. And then I'm ready, as you can see, I'm ready to enter a dotted quarter note. And then if I don't want my dot for the next note, I'm going to deselect the dot. And let's say go back to 8 note. Wonderful. So I invite you to explore writing around these notes. To delete, you can use the eraser tool if you want to delete one note. The thing is, the eraser tool, as you see, it takes the note away and moves everything back. So I personally don't use the eraser tool very much. I prefer to select the rest and insert it. For example, in this case, I could select an 8th note rest and insert it there. Or I can also scroll through the notes using my arrows. And I can make any of the notes into a rest by pressing R. So that to me sounds like a better option. R. Also, if I want to start the next measure and I want to start with the rest, I can press 0 and it's gonna add the rest that I have selected. So if you want to enter a rest, there's different ways to do this. One option is, let's say the next beat, I want it to be a rest in this measure where I'm working on right now. I can go ahead and select 0, click on 0, hit 0. And when you hit 0, it's going to add a rest for the note value that you have selected. So if I had selected a quarter note and I hit 0, it's going to add a quarter note rest. Another way, you can use the eraser tool right here. But the eraser is going to erase your notes. It's not going to add rests. So only use the eraser tool if you want to completely delete a section. There's many ways that are easier to add or delete notes. You can just select one measure and click on the delete bar and it's going to delete it. So the eraser tool is more for detailed, but I personally don't use it very much. Another way that you can add a rest, let's say I want one or a few of my notes in this melody to become a rest. I can double click on my note. Once I'm in one of my notes, I can move through the different notes using my arrows. And once I have a note that I wanted to become a rest, I can hit R and that note will become a rest. Let's do the same thing here. If I want to change the duration of a note, let's say I delete this note here and I want this eighth note to become a quarter, I can hit Option 5 and that note is going to become a quarter. We're going to start taking a look at the note values associated with numbers. Option 4 would make this an eighth note. Option 3 would make this a 16th note. Option 4, eighth note. Option 5, quarter. And then option 6 would make it a half note, which I can't in this case because it doesn't fit in this measure. But if I go and insert, let's say I insert a quarter note here, and I want this to become a half note, I'm gonna hit option 6. For the dot, I can also just use the dot in my keyboard and so on. So one more time, I invite you to take a look at how to enter these notes, explore, move the pitches around, move through using your arrows. You can also move the pitch up and down by using the arrow. So explore, start feeling comfortable with entering notes. And another thing I want to show before we move on is how to add ties. So let's say I have two A's here and I want to tie these two notes. I'm going to select this option and I'm going to add a tie. I also invite you to explore with adding accidentals using the simple entry palette here. So I can make this note a sharp. I always need to deselect whatever I'm not using. So in this case, I'm going to deselect the tie and I'm going to make this note sharp and I'm going to make this note, this A here, an A flat. Take some time to get familiar with this tool using your laptop, your mouse, using your computer keyboard, and I look forward to our next lesson. Thank you.